What should I do, buckaroos? How the heck are you? I'm going to be Tom the Whiskey Whisperer for the purposes of this video. Tried real hard to get this one started on time. I'm still almost late. Anyways, sometimes things just happen. I digress. Let me check this real quick, make sure everything's going just the right way. Looks like that's all right. I'm not really in this bar, but I'm just trying to create a mood here. Not trying to fool anybody. It's just a background on my television set. But we're in the pub with the Whiskey Whisperer. This is a product I found. Actually, it's out of Indianapolis, but I actually bought this bottle in Cincinnati, Ohio, at the Jungle Gyms there. It's a St. Elmo cherry vanilla infused bourbon at 88 proof. They got a recipe for the famous Elmo Cola. Elmo Cola. This is the produced and bottled St. Elmo Steakhouse in Indianapolis. Had I realized that, I probably would have tried hard to visit that steakhouse. I really didn't realize that much about it at the time. We just didn't have a lot of time there. But when I saw the product at the Jungle Gyms in Cincinnati, I really wanted to try it. And I had it once today. And I usually, when I try a product for the first time, I have it neat and rocks, and then I cocktail. But I did a cocktail with it. In fact, I did a Manhattan with it earlier, and it was brilliant. So here, what I did this time, though, was, well, we'll bring that up later. Right now, I've got it neat, though. I want to start with it neat, and then we'll take it from there. But I did do another cocktail with it, but a different one than I did earlier. Wow, that's nice. That's very nice. Very easy to drink at 88 proof. Yeah, usually when you have flavored products like this, the proof tends to go down. A lot of them are at 70, some even less than that. This one's at 88, which is a nice proof, which still allows you to do a cocktail with. They have again they have their famous cola recipe, which is which I don't have. I don't have any cola on me. Fill a rocks glass with ice. Add 2 ounces of the bourbon. Fill a glass with cola. Garnish with 2 cherries. Sort of like it's like an adult Roy Rogers, I guess, right? Anyway. But I did do a Manhattan with it earlier, and I didn't taste the whiskey beforehand. I just made the Manhattan, and that Manhattan was really good. But how I did it was I used the whiskey, sweet vermouth, and I used cherry bitters to really accentuate the cherry notes. But because I didn't taste it first, I really couldn't gauge how much of the whiskey was coming through. Now that I'm having it, yeah, you really feel a lot of cherry notes. More so than the vanilla. Because I was debating, I was talking about trying to turn it into an old fashioned, but more of a straight up old fashioned. But I was deciding what to do with the simple, whether I should do a cherry vanilla simple or just a vanilla simple to try to, just accentuate those cherry notes without adding to it. So bottom line, I decided just to do a nice vanilla simple. And I'm glad I did. Tasting it as is, you really feel the cherry more than anything. Very drinkable. As you can see, it's very approachable, very easy to drink at that 88 proof, which is, for me, kind of like the older I get, the stronger I like my whiskey. As a kid, 80 was good, 90 was really strong, but now I really enjoy cask. I'd rather drink a stronger whiskey and drink less of it because I want those flavors. I feel like you add too much water, you lose a lot of flavor. And as you drink more cask whiskey, you kind of see that. But this one is nice. The flavors are nice. A lot of times you taste those artificial flavors that just don't taste right. They put this one together pretty well. My only complaint would be, for me personally, I like to feel more vanilla. However, I feel like they've got this done pretty well. That's just because I like a lot of vanilla, which is why I made the decision to turn it into an old fashioned to do a vanilla simple and not add a cherry. And part of that was because I was adding a cherry to the cocktail, and I was also adding cherry bitters. So I figured doing a cherry simple would be a little too much cherry going on. This is very nice, very easy to drink, though. I really enjoy it. And they mentioned cola. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I would love to add this to some club soda. Again, maybe add just 2 ounces of this, maybe a half ounce of vanilla simple, and then top it with some club soda, kind of give you that cherry cola kind of feel. Where, well, cherry soda, I guess, more cherry vanilla, not the cola part, I guess. Oh, I could see adding some of this to some coffee, actually. Give me a little cherry thing going on, cherry coffee thing. I can even see adding it to tea, to be honest with you. Or to use a little bit to change up your hot toddy. Give your hot toddy a little flavor. Add that cherry. Add a little honey in there. You get your toddy going on. Yeah, it's nice. We had 2 nights there, but we only had one full day, and there was just too much to see there. I didn't really realize. I think we passed the St. Elmo Steakhouse at one point during our travels, but there was just so much. I don't know that we'd have visited because we weren't really doing. It seems to me it's kind of an upscale place, and we weren't really doing that this particular trip. And now that I've had this whiskey, I would really like to go there though, just to see what they have to offer. Because I'm curious. I haven't looked at their menu. I need to, because I'm thinking adding a little bit to using this as a little bit of a marinade to a nice steak. So now I'm thinking, and just a little bit, get that cherry in that steak, and then some mushrooms. Add a little bit to some mushrooms, like you would add cherry, but use this cherry vanilla bourbon instead, and then top your steak with that. Huh. I'm sure they've already thought of it. Like I said, I had checked their menu, but that's a well. I just, as I'm thinking of things, just ran through my mind right now. Huh, really haven't had a steak in a while. Now I'm really thinking I want one. Don't eat a lot of steak anymore. Old teeth and all. Really like one every once in a while, though. I have to keep buying better quality though, because like I said, old teeth. I need a good tender steak. I do prefer a ribeye though. I'll be honest with you. The filet is known to be the most tender. That is absolutely true. That's not negotiable. However, well, here's the however, it's not the most flavorful. The ribeye is the most flavorful. The ribeye gives you that best combination of tender and flavor, especially if you cook it right and you treat it right. It's tender, it's easy to eat, and it's got that most flavor. Yes, they tend to be a little fattier. That's why they've got more flavor. But yeah, I do prefer it to a fillet. But there's no doubt. I mean, there's no argument. The filet is the most tender of all the steak cuts. But there's also, to me anyway, there's no argument that the ribeye is the most flavorful. If you want flavor, you got to go ribeye, baby. Okay, I'm almost done here, so I'm going to go grab my rocks version of this, and I'll be right back. So the flavors do cover up a lot of that whiskey, but I will tell you right near the end, I was really feeling some of the oak and spice notes, but cherry really is the dominant flavor. So I have some on the rocks here, or on the rock, if you will, but I do have it good and cold to see if the flavors differ any. Okay. Oh God, golly, that's good. For the most part, all whiskeys are better neat, especially if you have an affinity for them, as I do. If you really enjoy the taste of whiskey, and I know that seems like that seems odd to some folks, but I really enjoy the taste. So most I do prefer neat. However, some of them you get them cold, and it really brings out certain flavors, certain aspects, especially when you're talking about a flavored whiskey such as this. So as I was having it neat, the cherry was really dominant. As I've got this cold here, oh gosh, the cherry is still dominant. However, I am feeling more of the vanilla notes than I was neat, and I'm feeling more of the oak and the spice as well, which is odd because usually the ice mutes all those flavors. But in this particular case, it really tones down that cherry just enough to bring those other flavors and aromas to the surface. I debated on buying this one, to be honest with you, because I'm not a big fan of flavored whiskeys. I am a bit of a purist. Uh, but I ultimately made the decision to buy it because I felt I would probably never come across it again. I don't know if we'll ever get back that direction again because I don't know how many times we've taken a vacation and I haven't bought something or gone to a place thinking, oh, we'll be back here someday. And, a decade or sometimes 2 decades later, we've never returned. So that's the main reason I bought it was because, oh, fuck, I'm probably never going to get here again. I'm never going to get back to Indianapolis. I'm going to buy it now just in case. And I really enjoy it. Hey, Jason, how are you? I want to post your comment there. He says, cheers, Tom, and I hope you're keeping well. I'm doing all right for an old fat man. I'm doing all right, man. I hope you're doing all right as well. If you missed the earlier part of the video, Jason, I'm focusing on one product for this video. St. Elmo Steakhouse Cherry Vanilla Infused Bourbon at 88 proof. I just finished it neat. Now I'm having it on the rocks, and then I'll have it as an old fashioned. However, let's say old fashioned inspired because I'm serving it straight up. I'm not serving it with a big cube. Tom, an old fashioned has to be served on the rocks, man. Well, the truth is, it has come to be that way. But if you look at the earliest recipes for an old fashioned, a lot of them were served straight up, just like a Manhattan. Had a few Tennessee fire drinks. There you go. Hey, do what you got to do, brother. I don't judge. But yeah, I came across this. I wasn't familiar with the St. Elmo Steakhouse in Indianapolis. I know we passed it during some of our travels or going through it. But then when we hit the Jungle Gyms in Cincinnati, they had this there, and I picked it up to buy it. And I set it back down. I went and looked at some other stuff, and I said, "Oh, you know what? It's unlikely that I'm ever going to get here again, so I'm going to buy it." And I'm really glad I did because it is different, it is likable, and I can see a lot of uses for it. Well, as you can see, it didn't take much to get rid. Here's what's odd. Typically, when you put something on ice, it brings those sugars to the surface. It feels sweeter. This one almost did the opposite. It took it really kind of balanced it out. It brought some of those other flavors to the surface. The bourbon, for instance, the vanilla that kind of balanced those big cherry notes that you were tasting mostly neat. So I've got a cocktail. I'm going to be right back with that. I had a good production assistant. She just bring me the cup.
You better fire her. You better just fire her.
What's that every once in a while? Anyways, I hope you didn't hear any of that exchange. Let's hope none of that got on camera. I was just kidding, man. I didn't mean any of it. So here's what I got with this one. Let me show you this cocktail. And it's meant to be sort of an old fashioned. I said sort of because as you can see, I've got it served straight up, which means I have it chilled, but I'm not serving it with ice. But what I've got is 2 ounces of this St. Elmo cherry vanilla bourbon at 88 proof, cherry vanilla infused, I should say. And then 1 ounce of my homemade raw sugar and bourbon vanilla simple. So I've got a vanilla simple, and then a couple dashes of some cherry bitters here. Let me show those to you. And you probably can't see it, but there is a cherry sitting at the bottom of that glass. And sláinte. After tasting this neat, I was a little concerned because, like I said, I hadn't tasted neat before I made that cocktail. So, having tasted it neat, I was a little concerned that adding a simple to this was going to make the cocktail too sweet. But like putting it on the rocks and getting it good and cold, I feel like adding that extra vanilla balances those cherry notes. And then I've got, of course, I got a cherry in there. Then I've got the cherry bitter. So I was adding extra cherry. So I thought, well, let's just do a vanilla simple and not a cherry simple. Uh, anyways, regardless, that's delicious. Yeah, that's something I could drink a lot of. I can see that as a fall cocktail, absolutely. And I tend to use less ice during the fall, right? So almost all of my cocktails tend to be served like this, which is why typically in the past have drank more Manhattans in the fall than an old fashioned because everybody thinks you need a big ice cube in an old fashioned. I like to use the ingredients of an old fashioned, but then serve it straight up, get it good and chilled. But I don't need all that ice, and some folks want that ice. And yeah, you know what? You got that big cube. You're not going to get a lot of meltage, but you're going to get some. And I just like a pure cocktail, which is why I prefer mine straight up. Yeah, that's what's odd here, though, is that even though I've added the simple to it, it doesn't feel any sweeter than it did neat. It just balances those cherry notes a little more. That's really interesting. But I will say I did go heavy on the vanilla because I really wanted to elevate. I wanted to really feel like a vanilla simple and not just a simple with a little vanilla. I'm gonna tuck this whiskey away. This is the first day I opened it, and I've already drank a good portion of it because trying to feel it out. But I'm gonna tuck it away. I really enjoy it though. Like I said, I don't typically buy flavored whiskeys, but this one is done exquisitely well. If I ever get through Indianapolis again, I hope to visit St. Elmo Steakhouse. because now I'm intrigued. I didn't really know anything about them before, but now I do. Yeah, and then now I'm intrigued, man. So anyway, Sláinte, so we had it neat. We had it on the rocks. We have it on a cocktail. And in an earlier video, I had it as a Manhattan. It works in every capacity. It makes a great Manhattan, to be honest with you. But I do like it this way with that vanilla simple. It just kind of balances those cherry notes so they're not so heavy and allows some of those other flavors and aromas to come through. So there you go. Ah, man, that's just delicious. Damn, I'm brilliant. I'm kind of an alcohol savant. I just have a thing here. Anyways, I digress. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom. And let me show you this bottle one more time. St. Elmo's. Gosh, I wish I'd have gone to that steakhouse now, man. Trey vanilla infused bourbon, 88 proof. This product is done exquisitely well. I'm going to hit it one more time and go right to the end. All around good guys. Sláinte. Thanks, guys. Ah.